under pressure, being able to focus on the long term over the short term, not having permanent solutions to temporary problems. And right now, the stock market's been a little bit of a temporary problem. I don't know if anybody in here owns Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is a lot of people might call it shitcoin right now because Bitcoin's been getting absolutely body slammed and slaughtered. And really my goal, my job is to let you know where the economic champions are made. That this is where we show our greatness. You get through the grit, and that's where the money lives. And so today I have a great opportunity to bring to you a special guest that you've probably seen before. One of them is my lovely wife, and the other one is an awesome lady who is a person that you should know. And so, first off, I guess since Ayana is company, we've got Ayana Hamilton, aka Yaya, who's out of Houston, who works with my wife, Dr. Alicia, on various ventures, including some stuff that she's doing in Costa Rica, which I'll tell you about in a minute. How you doing today, Yaya?
I am fabulous. How's everyone?
Hey, they're doing good. Everybody in the chat, give a digital welcome to Yaya. Say, what's up, Yaya? Everybody type Yaya in the chat. All right, Yaya, Yaya, Yaya. I know you probably heard that 1,000 times. Second letter short, second letter. All right, anyway. All right, so the other special guest we have is my lovely wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. Good morning, babe. How you doing today?
Nice to be back on Money in the Morning. Hey, everybody. Hey, Yaya and Boyce.
And by the way, in case you don't know, my wife is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work, and she's also the co-director of our Black Financial Therapy Department in the
Mhm.
Black Business School, which is the first ever space, the first place we've ever seen that actually connects things like childhood trauma to financial decision making. That helps us really understand the psychological barriers to building black wealth, right? Like, tell me if you understand what I'm saying here. That you can't it's hard to get economic freedom when you're trained to be a slave, right? So the slave mentality. Tell me, I don't know, am I being mean? I hope I'm not being harsh when I say this, but I think the slave mentality is real. Does anybody agree with me that maybe sometimes we're kind of trained to serve other people instead of ourselves? We're trained to be a little bit too hyper emotional, kind of so afraid that it's hard to really expand. And so ultimately, the goal of the Black Financial Therapy Department is to work with the best Black therapists and thinkers to help us understand psychological barriers to building Black wealth. I think every HBCU in the country should have one. And anybody else who cares about this issue, if you don't understand the mindset, then you'll never understand the money, and you'll always be confused about why Black wealth keeps going down, even though they keep telling us we're making progress. Now, with that being said, I want to talk about financial trauma. All right. And first, I want to I'll start with you, Dr. Alicia. Actually, let me start with Yaya since she's company. Yaya, I want to ask you this. Without us even going into the definitions of it and stuff like that, because I know my wife is going to nail that because that's what she does. Uh, um, do you believe that how did you grow up? Do you believe that you might have experienced some financial trauma as a kid? And if so, what did that look like?
Most definitely, I did. And the values of the household were, um, trickled down to me, the bad habits, the stuff that I didn't even notice. You don't notice growing up that you have these habits and they were not serving you. And so, with the trauma as a child, growing up saying you can't have this or you have to do something to get something, and you take that as an adult. And sometimes with mine, it was made difficult decisions when it became with financial decisions. Didn't make good financial decisions. Didn't even
Hmm,
know about um, budgeting and stuff. All I knew was I was supposed to work. At 14, I
interesting.
started working. So that's all we knew on that side of the river. You don't, you have to work in order to eat. So that was my mindset. So for when I got out of high school, that was my main focus. Get a job, have a good job, get a good job. My mom had a good job. She was an executive. So I had a big shoe to fill, and failure wasn't an option. But my mindset was different I say because of it was more of working, the slave mentality of working, working, working from somebody, not creating wealth, not, you know, generational wealth. So
Mm. Okay. I want to ask everybody in the chat if I was to just ask you just, but and we'll refine the definition of financial trauma in a minute, but just based on what you believe that financial trauma is, give me a yes in the comments if you believe that you are financially traumatized. How many? Let's do it. Let's do a quick confession. How many of you feel that you experienced some stuff when it came to money that just wasn't fair, just didn't feel right, that kind of stuck with you, that you made you like that rapper. Y'all, I don't know if y'all heard that rapper NBA Young Boy. Y'all know what NBA Young Boy stands for? NBA. It's not National Basketball Association. It stands for Never Broke Again. Right. Okay. So now that we have heard whether or not we feel that we're financially traumatized, let's go to the expert, Dr. Alicia. Now, I want to make this clear. Just got to give that shout out to the smart black woman that married me, which is she is not just a licensed therapist with over 20 years of experience. She's a certified trauma expert, and she's also a full professor of social work. And for those who don't know, there's the PhD. Only 1% of the population has a PhD. For black people, it's even lower. Then there's the professor at the major university. Then there is the tenured professor, which is even harder to get. Then there's the full professor. So she's like the Queen's Queen OG, top of the line researcher in this topic. And I just have to say that so that it's we understand the difference between an opinion and research based analysis. So, Dr. Alicia, what would you say if someone was to say like, well, what is financial trauma? Like, how would you define that?
Well, financial trauma is not just bad things that happened to you when you were younger related to money. All of us are going to have good days and bad days. Where it becomes traumatic is when it gets stored in the body, these memories, and they start to come up as triggers because it was never really processed and dealt with appropriately. So that's what happens. It's like having scary things happen to all of us. Painful events happen to all of us. But the question is, do we have a person in our life, a situation, or some opportunity to express all of the different feelings that it evoked in us? When we do not have that particular avenue of which to express ourselves, it gets trapped in our bodies as trauma. We minimize it, we excuse it, we rationalize it out. We do anything but deal with those painful experiences. And that's when it becomes trauma because you'll be walking around one day and you're thinking, why am I nervous about paying my bills when I have plenty of money in my banking account? Why am I scared about this? Why am I behaving as if I have a lack? When I look into my checking account, I have an abundance there. That's how you know, whoa, pay attention to that and say, there must be some connection that I haven't consciously thought of. So it is in those experiences where you're doing things and you're being triggered as if you are in danger, but there's no danger around you. Why am I sweating? Why is my head hurting? Why is my heart beating really fast? Why is my leg bothering me? It's not anything in the situation that's scary. It's something that's being what's called a trigger that's triggering you from something in the past that you never quite dealt with. That's how you know it's financial trauma. And financial trauma is just, it's related to something to do with finances. But we know that is the traumatic experiences is not just connected to finances. I mean, it's connected to all the areas in our life, interpersonal relationships, work relationships, all of the things in your life that has happened to you that was frightening and scary, where you never had a chance to process it, to make meaning out of it, to learn from it, to grow from it. It's gonna hold you back.
Mm. Well, so it sounds to me like Um, one way to look at trauma is it's like a wound that was never healed. Like you have an
Yeah.
injury in a football game or something, or you cut your finger and you don't bandage it, you don't disinfect it, you don't properly treat it, right? It just the little scab forms over it or whatever, and you have so like one time, my wife doesn't know this story, but one time when I was she can probably tell you that 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 I snore a lot, and I know when it started. It started when I was 27 years old. I was on the basketball court, and I had a horrible day at the basketball court because I would I was playing a really good game, and at some point there was a guy that just hit me in my nose really hard by accident. It wasn't on purpose, and I think I might have broke my nose, right? But I was like 27 with no, I didn't have good health care, and plus I just assumed it would heal because I didn't know what a broken nose felt like. But in hindsight, I'm like, I think I broke my nose and I just never did anything about it. It just naturally healed, probably crooked, and so I think about that when I think about trauma, like just this wound that wasn't properly treated. And because if it had been treated, it wouldn't have had the same impact. So based on that definition, I want to ask everybody, and at some point we're going to be able to really test this in a minute. How many of you believe that you were impacted by financial trauma based on Dr. Alicia's definition, which really helps us? It's good to have the science behind it. A wound that was never healed, maybe something you went through and you couldn't talk to anybody about it. You weren't able to kind of properly address it. And one thing I noticed too, Yaya, is that it seemed like as Alicia was talking about the financial trauma, she also mentioned other types of trauma that can happen, with your relationships and physical and mental health. And it seems to me that it's all kind of connected, right? Like if I have trauma in one area, like I don't know, like if my money's bad, that's gonna make my relationships, struggle a little bit, right? And then if my relationships and my money are struggling, that's not gonna be good for my mental and physical health. Would you agree? It almost seems
I
like it's
agree.
connected. What do you think?
I totally agree. All the whole trauma situation is connected. So I do agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. So okay. So what I want to do is do a quick little test with everybody, and ask you all a really simple question, or give you a little quiz. And everybody pull out a pen real quick, or a piece of paper if you have it. And then because you got to give yourself a score. And if you can keep it in your head, that's fine too. But try to write it down because it'll really help you, I believe. So I want to ask you if you have been financially traumatized, or how to know how deep your trauma actually goes, right? Because some of you may be so tough that you're like, oh, I'm fine. I was never traumatized, but really you were. And some of you may just be weak. I'm playing. You ain't weak, but you're acting like what you went through was really really terrible, and it wasn't as bad as you think. But I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. All right. So anyway, here are the questions. All right, y'all ready? Let me know if you're ready. Give me a yes in the chat if you're ready. Everybody got your pen? Everybody ready to rock and roll? All right, so here we go. Because our goal is not just to talk. We ain't gonna just talk about it. We about to be about it. Okay. All right. Yeah. You ready? You got your pen? Okay. All right. So one, did you grow up in a household where money was a constant source of stress, arguments, or fear? If you grew up in a household where money was a constant source of stress, arguments, or fear, give yourself a point. If you did not grow up in that household, then you're still at a zero. Next, did your family experience repeated financial crises like eviction, utilities being shut off, or food insecurity? Yes or no? And then you can put your yes or no in the chat if you want to. Um, so I'll read the second question again. Did your family experience repeated financial crises like eviction, utilities being shut off, or food insecurity? My score so far is 2. Um, See, so whenever y'all, if anybody comes out here accusing me of always being a rich Negro, like I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, y'all better be quiet. I think I was born with a rusty spoon. So let's kill that right now. All right. Third question. Were you taught to fear money, rich people, or investing rather than understand it? Were you taught to fear money, rich people, or investing rather than to understand it? So, do you have relatives that you grew up with that were basically making you afraid of things like investing? Like, oh, the stock market's going to crash, you're going to lose your money. Don't quit that good job at the post office because you're gonna go broke. Okay. All right. Um, Next question. So give yourself a point if the answer is yes. A zero if the answer is no. So that's the third one. Next, do you feel anxiety, guilt, or shame when you think about checking? Do you think about money or checking or check your bank account? Let me read that again because I said it wrong. Do you feel anxiety, guilt, or shame when you think about money or check your banking account? Do you feel shame? Like, man, like gosh, my money ain't right, or gosh, I'm embarrassed. I wouldn't let any,
Sometimes.
I want nobody to see my bank balance. Okay. All right. Next question. So give yourself a point if the answer is yes. Do you avoid looking at bills, balances, or financial statements because it feels overwhelming? Yes or no? Yes or no? Do you avoid looking at bills, balances, or financial statements because it just feels overwhelming? Like, oh my God, I can't fix this. So I might as well not even look at my credit score or my financial statements. Give yourself a point if
Avoidance.
the answer is yes. Next question. Have you ever sabotaged your finances after receiving money by maybe spending your money quickly, like blowing the bag, giving it all away, or just flat out losing it? Have you ever sabotaged your finances after receiving money, spending it quickly, giving it away, or losing it? If the answer is yes, give yourself a point. Next question. Do you believe deep down that you are just not good with money? Like, do you just believe deep down that you're just not good with money? If the answer is yes, give yourself a point. And you can answer in the chat as well. Next, do you associate money with pain, conflict, or loss rather than safety and opportunity? Do you associate money with pain, conflict, or loss rather than safety and opportunity? If the answer is yes, give yourself a point. We got three more questions. Or is it four? Sorry, four more. Do you feel undeserving of wealth or uncomfortable when you start doing financially well? Like, does doing well make you feel awkward or a little embarrassed? Do you feel undeserving of wealth or uncomfortable when you start doing financially well? There's a brother with Earn Your Leisure who wrote a book called You Deserve to Be Rich. And I saw the title and I said, that's a really interesting title because I forgot how many people don't even feel like they deserve to have money. They think they're supposed to be poor or that somehow there's righteousness in struggle. Um, Next, speaking of struggle, next question is, do you struggle to plan long-term financially because survival mode feels more familiar? You're so used to survival mode that long-term planning doesn't even come into the equation. Do you struggle to plan long-term financially because survival mode feels more familiar? If the answer is yes, give yourself a point. Next question. Did no one teach you about how money actually works? Like, did you grow up in a household where nobody taught you about investing? Nobody taught you about ownership? Nobody taught you about wealth building? Did no one teach you about how money actually works? If the answer is yes, give yourself a point. Last question, last but certainly not least, do financial decisions trigger emotional reactions rather than calm analysis? So, do financial decisions trigger emotional reactions or do they just trigger like a calm, steady analysis? All right. Now, how to interpret your score. And I'm going to actually send you all this quiz afterwards so you can share it with your family. Maybe in your family investment club meetings, you can have everybody take the quiz so you can know how crazy you and your relatives might be. Because, I know I'm crazy. And don't forget, if you want me to text it to you, text the word morning to the number 87948. So text morning to 87948, and I will send you this quiz afterward. All right. So if your score is 0 to 2 points, you have very low financial trauma. You likely have a relatively healthy emotional relationship with money. Your next level skill is building and strategy. Did anybody get from 0 to 2? Any soft life people up in here? My wife, okay, my wife is 1. All right. All right, I see Angela McKinney got a 3. Okay, we got some threes. Myrna got a 3. Okay, well, 3 to 5 points means you have mild financial trauma. So some beliefs or habits may be holding you back. Awareness alone will help you start producing financial breakthroughs. So just knowing what your triggers are can go a long way. Um, if you're 6 to 8 points, that's moderate financial trauma. So money stress may quietly influence your decisions. So that means anybody from 6 to 8. How many 6 to 8 people we got up in here? Anybody? Okay, I see Levon says 8. Let's see. Candace says 6 to. She says 6 to 8. Were you? Yeah, yeah. Is that where you were?
6.
About a 6. Okay. So
Mhm.
moderate financial trauma. So healing will help you in that process. Okay, great. All right. 9 to 12. Okay. So any 9 to anybody get a 9 or above? I got a 9 or above. Oh man, Tiffany
No
Anderson.
shame anybody. There's no shame.
No,
No
there's no
shame.
shame because I'm laughing at me because I actually got I got
What's
a
your
9.
score?
I got a 9.
Your
That's
score's
all
a
right.
9, boys?
Yeah.
Oh, I
It was
talked to you about that.
it was rough out here in these streets.
No wonder. I
Shoot.
mean, it makes sense that you are on some unconscious level working through your own thing by having this topic to be your focus. This is really for you, for your development. Are you aware of that? That a lot
I
of
you know,
this, a lot of your career and your dedication to finances and financial trauma and all of these things is a reflection of you trying to work out your own things?
yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, when I went to college, I was so broke and I had no money, no help, no guidance, no nothing. And I
Nothing?
had a baby and I had a baby on the way. So I
Wow.
remember I was like, when they were like, well, what do you want to major in? I said, well, what is finance? They said, well, that's money. I said, okay, I figure if I want to get some money, I should go study it. So I said, I want to spend my time studying money.
Wow.
That was my logic, and that's why I picked finance. And it worked. I got money because I studied it. And that's why I'm very clear with you. I'm like, well, whatever you want to get, I think you should go study the thing you want to have. If you want to be
Yeah,
happy,
I mean,
study how to be happy.
I'm curious about who and what you would be if you had not had those experiences. And I think it's so important to be aware of why you do things. And that's very insightful, boys, to be able to make that connection even at the age of 18, I imagine, and having a baby and understanding that. Like that's really something. I'm proud of
Well,
you for that, you
I
know.
appreciate it. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing about the trauma, well, not the trauma, but I didn't have like the easiest upbringing. I had a pretty strict, father and stuff. But the good side of
Okay.
it was, it really did help me learn that my fate was determined by me. That I'm a master of my own outcomes. So when I
Huh.
see something wrong in my life, I don't sit back and say, well, when's somebody gonna come fix it? My trauma response, I know it's a trauma response. My trauma response is, I'm gonna go out here and make this happen. You ain't stopping me, right?
So
And,
your
and so,
trauma,
so that
okay.
that comes from thousands of hours of listening to motivational tapes and all that stuff, and so maybe that diligence isn't always healthy all the time,
Oh, I
but
was wondering. Yeah.
yeah,
No.
but I'm happy with it. Like I'm not, I think if I was tortured by it, that might be
Right.
different, but
Mhm.
I
so
think that's a strength in you to just be able to just go out and get it and not be boldened by other people. And then I think the other question for you to think about is what are the costs? How has that sort of way in which you cling on to safety? Because really it's about safety. You trying to get safety, you're like a maverick doing it alone and by yourself. That is how you create safety because safety for you means I can't depend on anybody to be there for me. The question for you boys to think about is how has that cost you? How have
mm,
you how have you used it? How has this particular your go-to way in which to create safety for yourself because of the trauma? Where in your life where were opportunities missed? Where were relationships that you had that fell apart because of that maverick sort of
mhm.
spirit that you have with yourself? So it's important to know, like although it is a beautiful strength in you, also think about where has it cost you and what you can do to adjust to that, to the cost to being that one sole person maverick when you're trying to have
Yeah,
relationships with people.
that's 100% true. It's
Mhm.
I remember when I walked across the stage and I finally finished my doctorate, which was the end of a really long journey. I started crying. Tears flowed down my face
Mm-hmm.
because I started processing how hard it was and how much I had to sacrifice
Come
to
on.
make it happen. Like, just, so much that you lose along the way, and tragedies, just tragedies that happen along the way.
Mhm.
And it, and on one hand, it certainly creates like this, almost like sense of deep reflection, perhaps sometimes regret. But it's like it, on the brighter side of it, almost, it taught me kind of like, well, almost anything worth really having is gonna require sacrifice. Like when I watched
Uh-huh.
the Avengers movie, I don't know if I remember the Avengers, where there was something called the Soul Stone. Control the universe. This guy had to get all these different stones, and one of the stones he had to get was called the Soul Stone, which means you have to give up something that destroys your soul, right? That takes your soul out of your body, almost like something you can't imagine losing, and an unimaginable loss. So for him, he had to sacrifice his daughter, and he's just crying, but it's like he wanted this soul stone, and he's like, and so it's like, oh God, like, did I go too far? And in economics, they call that the winner's curse too. It's where you just sacrifice so much to get what you want that you wonder if you gave too much, right? And I just think that's a dilemma for anybody that wants to claim to have accomplished something. And and it also even goes back to investing. Like, we always talk about wealth in terms of understanding wealth requires sacrifice. And the thing is, you got to always make sure you're in touch with yourself, so when you sacrifice a little bit too much, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah. What are your thoughts on this? I've been talking too much. Please.
I was, you're right on point. I'm 100% agreeing, in agreement with you. How um, the your upbringing and just different aspects of your life has shaped you. So some of the trauma, as what I'm hearing, Dr. Alicia, you're saying some of the trauma is good in one aspect
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
of
really
his life
do.
because it
Mm-hmm.
it shaped him to be
Mm-hmm.
who he is right now, and we're very grateful for that. Not that you were traumatized, but it shaped you to create a safe space for you as an adult.
Yeah, and I think the issue, I like what you're saying because the thing is that who are you now? Like before, when you're walking around and you're reacting to things and you're not mindful about things and you're just constantly reacting to your environment, you have a ton of regrets because there's lost opportunities and this reaction and all of these things that are trauma responses. You're missing out on things and you're looking back in your life and you're like, I totally have a ton of regrets. And I work with a lot of people. Anybody want to work with me? It's coaching with Dr. Alicia. I work with a lot of individuals with processing the regrets that they have because they made decisions in that moment based on the trauma response, not really what they know they needed to do. They were working against their best interest because they were trying to create a safety for themselves. And what happens if you're walking around and you're reactive and you're lashing out and you're perceiving threat when really there is no threat? It's just your mind is going back, constantly going back to a place where it's been unsafe. Even though you're safe in the current life, you don't see it as safety. You're going to see it through a trauma lens, the trauma.
Yes.
So you're not, you're being, your cognition is distorted. And the thing is that once you heal, once you start becoming aware of your feelings and how it's connected to things in the past, and when you start to heal from it and process all of the regrets, because you're going to have regrets if you're only operating out of this reactivity, you will have regrets. But the thing is that you can heal from it. You can process your regrets. You can make meaning out of it. You can have lessons that you learn from it. You can incorporate it in a way. Dealing with your trauma is becoming an entirely new person. You have to let go of that traumatized person and become a totally new person.
Mhm.
Because how? You're going to be wiser, you're going to be smarter, you're going to be making decisions based on what's really truly important to your values, what you hold near and dear that's important to you. You're going to start making decisions based on love
Mm.
instead of fear.
Yeah.
And
Mm,
because you only operate from two emotions, you
Mhm.
either operate on love. If you operate on love, you're never going to have regrets in your life. But regrets happen when you operate on fear.
Mm.
You're going to lose relationships when you respond to your partner based on fear and ego. But
Yeah.
when you respond to your partner, respond to people around you, and it comes from a place of love, there's no regrets because you're operating from the God force in you
Mm.
instead of the traumatized you. And that's really
wow.
it in a nutshell.
Wow. Okay, well,
And that's
everybody
when
who
that
just
little girl and that little boy come
The
up.
little boy, the little child, you haven't grown up. Grow up emotionally. Because when you get triggered, you go right back to that 5 year old little child that got spanked and beaten and ignored. You're operating childish.
Mm.
mm,
Grow
wow.
up.
Well, everybody who just came in, the first message is grow up. But
Yes.
the
Be
second thing
mature.
I want to
Act your
mention
age.
everybody. Yeah, well, I also want to mention for those who just came in, I was speaking with my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. She's a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. She's also a co-director of our Black Financial Therapy Department in the Black Business School. And also Ayana Hamilton, who actually works with my wife on a lot of things. And in fact, actually, I'm about to tell you about some stuff that they have going on as well. First, I want to mention that Dr. Alicia, if you want to know if she sees clients, she does. Her website is coachingwithdralicia.com. That's coachingwithdralicia.com. So you can write that down. And also, she has a weekly book club, a Healing Haven book club. You can join if you text the word love to the number 87948. You can join them. They meet every Sunday. So text love to 87948. Now, what I want to get into really quickly is some of the consequences that can occur when you have trauma and you don't heal from trauma. What really blew my mind was when I remember when you got that trauma certification, and when my wife goes through something she's studying, she tells me all about what she's studying, and I love hearing it. And I remember just being floored by how undiagnosed, untreated trauma kills you in so many ways. Like we die earlier, your mental health, like so now whenever I see just crazy stuff happening in our community, I say, "Oh, that's trauma. Oh, that's trauma. That's trauma." So it's really like a spiritual version of it's like a spiritual COVID. It's like this highly infectious disease. We will re-traumatize each other. Traumatized people will traumatize people. Like you ever heard people say, "Hurt people, hurt people, hurt people," that kind of thing, and it's not addressed. Nobody really talks about it. But people will talk about the symptoms, but they won't talk about the underlying cause. So here are a few things, and I'll let either one of you can chime in on this, but I'll let you kind of give me anything that we're missing here. Here are some things that happen when your financial trauma goes unhealed. So let's talk specifically about financial trauma. One, you stay stuck in survival mode. So even when opportunities are right in front of you, because you're stuck in survival mode, you can't see the opportunity. You can't see $1 million 5 years from now because you're trying to figure out how to get $200 for Friday. Anybody go through that? Hey, anybody ever seen that? Or what we might also even call note without with full respect, maybe like a paycheck mentality. I've seen people that were more focused on getting a $500 a week paycheck than owning $1 million business. I've seen that. I've seen that. What else? The other thing that can happen is money decisions become emotional reactions instead of strategic choices. So you're reacting based on how you feel as opposed to the strategy that's going to lead to long-term wealth building, financial security. Or as Warren Buffett always talks about how wealth is a transfer of money from impatient people to patient people, from undisciplined people to disciplined people. The a third one, and I'll cover more later, but I would like to get Dr. Alicia's feedback on some of this. You repeat financial cycles that you swore you'd never live again. So you're like NBA YoungBoy, never broke again, but you somehow end up broke again over and over and over again. So first off, before I go to the expert, Dr. Alicia, Ayana, any thoughts on what I just said?
Yes, I agree because your body remembers the trauma and things like that. So when you are an adult and you're trying to grow up, as Dr. Alicia said, you're thinking that you're grown up, but these different triggers come about and it comes out. So you have to learn how to, I guess, control it, control those triggers that are out here. Like if you have an emergency where you need $2,000 and you don't have it, that's a trigger response. That's a trauma response. You know, where are you going to get it? Especially if you only can depend on yourself. So, and that was one of my trigger responses because I was a single mom of 4 girls. I couldn't depend on anyone. I didn't have anyone to depend on. So that paycheck mentality that I had to get in order to take care of my girls, that's what I was living under. And till I met you guys and several decades ago, it feels like, and you were talking about this and the light bulb came on and I went through the process of regret. How come I didn't know this? That was a trauma response. And it's like, well, you wouldn't know if someone didn't tell you. So it was oh, I should have known this type of thing. And, um, you know, how come my mom didn't tell me? How come we don't have generational wealth? So then you start speculating. But then the great thing about one of your viewers said, the good thing you can change. You don't have to stay stuck. We all think that we're stuck. And it's because, yeah, some of us don't know which way to go, how to go, how to start. Because that was my one thing. Okay, I got all this information. Now, how do I start? Where did that trauma come from? Being abandonment, stuff like that, because I would freeze. And then nothing would get done. And it's like, no, you can't freeze. You got to keep on going. People are, dependent on you. You're dependent on yourself. Because if you just give up, you'll be homeless. You ain't eating, a lot of stuff. So I was living from that
Wow.
paycheck mentality because that's what I was taught. My mom worked all the time. I really never seen her. So then when I got with my girls, I was like, I'm not going to have them do that. I'm going to be a super mom. I'm going to be there, go to their games, do all this. And it just weakened my soul until
Wow.
I had another mindset, a different mindset. It's like, I don't have to live like this. I don't have to count pennies every time I get paid, it's gone. And I'm just like, okay, well then, and then when you were talking, Dr. Boyce, I used to listen to you all the time. And some days I used to get teary-eyed because it was like, well, how do I start? You're saying this. And I didn't know it was fear. I was experiencing. You got this information. He's telling you it's possible to do this stuff. Why aren't you listening? Why aren't you moving?
Wow. Wow. That's
And
very powerful.
so,
Thank you for sharing that. Wow. Wow. So, Dr. Alicia, before I go to you, I want to read a couple more things that can happen when we don't heal this. And then I'd like to get your take on this for sure. Also, you earn more, but you never feel safer, calmer, or in more control. You avoid investing, ownership, or long-term planning because uncertainty feels threatening. So the prospect of investing with confronting risk is just still overwhelming because it feels threatening to have this uncertainty in your life. Or you might sabotage your progress right when things start going well. Anybody ever seen that? Like when you self-sabotage? It reminds me of Good Times. Remember Good Times? Every time they was about to get out the projects, what would always happen? James would get the good job at the car wash, and he's making $2 an hour, and they gonna move it. Baby, we're gonna move out the projects, and then something would always go wrong. So based on what I've shared here, what are your thoughts, Dr. Alicia? Just in terms of just not addressing trauma, period, or financial trauma, however you want to label
Well, 80% of your financial decisions is emotional.
mm,
So I really
Mm,
think that, what you need to do is get in control of your emotions. Stop letting marketing, stop letting these thoughts and ideas that you are less than because you don't have material things. Stop being led by wanting to have all of the finer things in life and that be your worth is based on what you look like on the outside. Like when Boyce used to tell me, "Oh, I think you are so beautiful," and I'd be like, "I hope you're talking about the inside." Because I want to know, am I a beautiful person on the inside? To me, that's so much more than what any of us can look like externally. So it's about who you are in your soul and being in control and knowing that that's enough. You don't need to have your hair done a certain way to be worthy of love. You don't need to spend money on a car that you have to drive, a particular house that you have to live in. You know, diamonds. Yeah, I have to have a big fat diamond in order for my husband to love me. I have to spend all this money on a wedding in order to prove that my marriage is worthwhile. I have to spend all this money on my wedding. Marketing people know this. But do you know it? And if you figured out the formula, why not consciously use that to try to think about how am I going to make myself feel good without having to spend a ton of money? Our
mm.
self-esteem is placed on external things. Whether I win, I'm only going to be happy when I win. I'm only going to be happy if I look a certain way, if I dress a certain way, if I act a certain way. That is only you putting your happiness and your worth on this external thing. You really don't even need to put your happiness on how much is in your banking account. I'm only,
Mm.
you don't know how many men in my life and in my practice who have said, I do not think I'm worthy of being a husband because I don't have a certain amount of money in my checking account. Who told you that? Who told you that your worth is tied to something else? Just being who and what you are on the inside is really what matters, and everything else is wonderful. It's gravy. Don't get me wrong, I like to win, but I don't rest my emotions on whether I win. Win or lose, I'm going to be content. Nothing is going to dull my light. My light is going to shine whether I win or if I lose, because we know from Hermetic principles, if y'all tuned in to my lecture, what goes up must go down. Everything has a rhythm and a flow. Stop attaching things to this and just know that that's how life is. Life is going to be up, life is going to be down. One thing my dad taught me, he used to, back in the 80s, when I go visit him in the summer in Tuskegee, he would, he had a checkbook, back in the checkbook, and he would subtract. We go to the grocery store, he would subtract. He would get money, would go to the bank and deposit money in his checking account. He would add. And he would tell me, he said, that's all money is, additions and subtractions. That's it. He was trying to teach me to take the emotion out of it, to not to be controlled by the emotion. He told me a car is, the purpose of a car is to get you from point A to point B, not tying my worth to the type of car that I'm in. And Black people just do that. I mean, I just have seen people who have gold everywhere and diamonds everywhere, and they're thinking all of this. No. So anyway, that's my response to all of that.
Wow, wow, that's really powerful stuff. And one thing I'll say is, first off, thank you for sharing all this. I mean, this is really great, a great breakdown. Tell me if you agree that awareness just feels so different than when you didn't know what was going on. Like, I don't know if anybody else go through that where you're like, oh, now I know why I do this. Now I know how to fix that, right? Like that awareness is really powerful. And so what I have found is that awareness or information is it's an important part of the process, but it's not the final step. Y'all know this, right? It's all about sort of implementation. Like how do you actually take these ideas and make them into habits and culture. My book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, was all about reshaping culture, individually, collectively, connected to habits. Like, what are you doing every day, right? Our life is nothing more, in my view. It's a sum of all the things we do on a regular basis. So, in order to help with the implementation, I would like for Alicia and Ayana to discuss something that they're going to do. They're actually going to do a wellness retreat actually in Costa Rica, and it's beautiful, beautiful country, beautiful place. And you're going to talk or help people work through some of this, like sort of get to the healing. And I think it's called the Summer Solstice Retreat. Is that correct?
It's the winter solstice wellness
Winter,
retreat.
so I said summer solstice. Yeah, because you know what? The reason I thought summer, I know it's winter, right? Because it happens in December. But the reason I thought summer was because Costa Rica is always warm and hot. So for some reason, the word summer popped into my head. So my apologies for that. Did you want to start off by telling us about the winter solstice retreat, Alicia?
This retreat is based on the things that I need. I am a very busy person. I have three children going three different directions. I have a husband who's running all this, has all of these things that he's doing. I have a full-time job. I'm seeing clients. I am exhausted a lot. And what I do is I carve out time in my life where I go to my own retreat and I'm able to, I'm in a place where I feel safe. I'm in a place where I can have some relief because I am a lot of times I'm overwhelmed. I was talking to Yaya last night. We were talking, and finally I just said, Yaya, I am overwhelmed. I have overextended myself today. I gotta go to bed. I cannot think right now because I was tired emotionally and I needed to like go and refresh myself. And now I'm alert today because I got a good night's rest. I got up this morning, I went to my boot camp, I feel better. And there are times when, because I'm taking care of everybody else, there are times where I have to carve out time in my life where I need to get away and just decompress. And I was just thinking, why can't I have that? Why can't I offer what works for me? Why can't I offer that to other people? And I saw people talking about pain into peace, my pain into peace lecture that I did a while
Mhm.
back. I see people in the chat discussing that. And I had a virtual retreat because I'm like, I'm testing this out. Like, is this working? What's happening? Is this working? And it did work. A lot of people were definitely felt, they felt because they invested in themselves, they felt like they could relax. And so now I'm ready for the full-on in-person retreat. And that is what I'm offering to everybody. I'm offering it because it works for me. It's worked virtually with a number of people who came on with me virtually. And now I'm just ready to take the next step. Let's do this in person. There's something about turning off, stepping away from your life and getting into a place where transformation can start to happen. Sense of belonging. We're like-minded people. We're money in the morning people, all of us. It's where you're just surrounded by people who get you. And I think that's just important. So that's why I came up with this retreat. It's something I've
Okay,
been thinking
so
about, Boyce, for years.
yeah, yeah, she's been talking about doing a retreat for like literally since like 2018, 2019. So, okay, it's in Costa Rica, which you and I went to visit, and it was
Oh,
beautiful, and the hotel was amazing, and it's in 314 days, December 17th, 2026 through December 21st in Los Sueños, the Marriott at Costa Rica. Very nice. They have really good food, really nice accommodations. Yaya, did you have anything you wanted to add in terms of what people might want to know about the retreat?
They have a golf course, you guys. Fabulous, beautiful golf
yes.
course. A rainforest next door. You can go hiking, see all the crazy monkeys and the sloths.
Hmm.
There's other animals there too. So, and there's zip lining, kayaking, fishing. We're down the street from a marina. So, and yes, we're going to go do the catamaran tour for different islands. And let me see. I think it's going to be fabulous from what you guys showed me when I did FaceTime with you, Dr. Alicia. It was
Yes. I was so
beautiful. I tell
excited. I
you,
was like,
I,
yeah, look at
it was
this.
like you felt the serenity of it. And I was like, oh my God, I can't wait. So yeah, I got my ticket. So I'm
So
coming.
what can people expect like when they get there? Like what is it that is like what's the transformation that occurs if I go to the retreat? Like what am I going to walk away understanding or being able to do? You know, how what about that? I mean, I know it's a nice place and I'll be there by the way. I'm gonna, you know, my trauma score is a 9. But you know, so it's a beautiful hotel and beautiful accommodations, first class, everything. But what happens also in terms of the unique experience you all will provide for those that are
Yeah.
there, where you know where you can walk away a different person.
Here's the thing, like, I know I talked about how I got up this morning and I went to boot camp. The reason why I signed up to boot camp is because there are professionals who specialize um, in weightlifting and specializing in workout. Those individuals, I come into my room with the boot camp and everything is set up for me. I don't have to think about anything. I can just turn my brain off at 5:30 in the morning and just have it laid out where someone say, do push-ups over here, do pull-ups over here, do burpees over here. Someone else has figured it out, and it that makes me feel safe. And I think that's what this retreat will do. It's where all of us have planned, Yaya and I and some other people, we've all planned the experience that you're gonna have. So from the time you get out of the airplane, you're gonna have somebody to greet you. You won't have to worry about where to go, someone to get you through customs, someone who put you in the Mercedes Sprinter van that Boyce and I took. Nice and relaxing with air conditioning. You can recline your seats. It's where we've thought of everything. You don't even need to worry about food. You don't need to worry about accommodations. We have basically provided everything with you in the retreat so that you can take your brain off. You could totally relax and not have to make a bunch of different decisions. That overloads me, like having to make decisions. When I go to the gym, sometimes I go to the gym with boys, I'm overloaded because I'm like, okay, which I want to work on upper body, but where do I need to go? How do I do it? How many reps do I do? What's going on? And I feel good when someone else has thought about it for me. I don't have to manage anything or organize anything or perform or put on. You can take it all off and be yourself. And I think that's what is important. Like there is safety. You can be relieved. You can have a wonderful experience. No decision fatigue. You don't have to explain yourself. You're just there focused on the beginning part of your transformation, because to me, the winter solstice is the longest day of the year. It's where it's the darkest day. It's the shortest day of the year, the longest night of the year.
Night.
And it
Mhm.
is the time where you can kind of unload, you can shed, and you can start anew. Because guess what? After the winter solstice, that's when the sun is starting to shine longer in the sky. And you can use this as symbolic to your transformation. What do you want to be? And what do you want to do? It's the starting point of that. And that's why, to me, it's like boot camp. It's like not having to think about it. And at the end of boot camp, I'm like, wow, look at me. I got all these muscles. I'm stronger. I'm better. And I didn't even have to think about it. It just happened. And it was with people that I trust. So I think that is what's important for me and why I
So
put it
so yeah,
together.
So yeah, you've been helping Alicia plan this, and I'm trying to figure out. She uses boot camp as an example, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. Boot camp seems hard. She gets up
Yeah.
at 5 in the morning, and she's tired when she comes back. Now the results are amazing, because she does the work, and I think that if I'm not mistaken, I think Alicia, maybe you can confirm, but you wear the same size that you wore in college. Is that right?
Yeah,
Or close
yeah,
to it?
I can I
Yeah.
have some pieces from college that I can put back on. I'm the same size and it's tough. I had 3 children. It is tough, but that's what healing is. Healing is going to require you to go into safety, in a safe, contained space with people who love you, people who will accept you, and being comfortable with whatever you decide you want, whatever pieces of your life you decide you want to transform, you can start working on that, and I will show you how to do that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
thanks for sharing that. And by the way, everybody,
Yeah.
I'll put a link to the retreat if you want to make a deposit. I don't think you have to pay right away, but and they have
It's
discounts on the
$500
website.
deposit, non-refundable, but that holds your spot because we got limited spots. The hotel only gave us so many rooms. So we have limited spot, and we're gonna get on a boat, and the boat can only hold but so many people. So,
And people
we're
got to
trying.
realize that that is their busiest time.
Yeah, it's the
For
busiest time.
December, I mean, you have uh big wigs. I mean, you have corporation companies going there, spending their Christmases there. I mean, it was a big deal when you guys went. It was sold out when you
It
guys went.
was,
Oh, we were
I
trying,
mean,
Boyce and
it
I
it
were
was
was.
well,
just, and then from when I was looking online, other hotels like 2 hours away, they were sold out. So that
really.
time is a really spiritual time for people when they go there, from what I'm hearing. And then the feel of it, the environment is just, when you showed me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get there because I'm feeling the energy, the peace, the tranquility from there. So I can't
Yeah,
wait to.
yeah. I felt, yeah, when I was there, it was Costa Rica is just a beautiful place. I saw Mia James says that she studied in Costa Rica, and so we left Chicago and it's freezing cold, and we get there and it's really nice and warm, like beach level temperature. And then on top of that, like the food was really good. We had to check everything out, and it's a ride from the airport, about an hour, hour and a half,
Okay.
through some mountains and whatnot. But and once you get out there, it's very very nice. And we checked out some of the rooms and stuff like that. Now, I personally think, now that I'm thinking out loud, I think maybe for those that go ahead and sign up sooner rather than later, maybe you can, yeah, yeah, I know you're a point person on this. Maybe you can talk with each other and find out some things that maybe want to add based on what people need, right? Or what people are
Truly.
looking for, or what they want to work on, and because I know that it's all flexible. So ultimately,
Mhm.
just so you guys know, I put the link to the retreat inside the chat, and I'll also text it out to you if you want to make a deposit and sign up. And it's going to be December 17th to the 21st in Costa Rica, and I will be there. So I'm like a bonus add-on. I'm like the undercard, but
I don't know. I think I may have like I was talking to Boyce about doing a private reception for
yeah.
doing a private reception in our, because they upgraded us to a suite. So
Oh,
I thought
really?
about maybe you can do a private reception for people, like just for a few hours. Because y'all don't know, Boyce goes on vacation. He's like, he sees vacation as an opportunity to like do something new with his business. So I don't know. I'm gonna drag him down there and have him participate in stuff. But I think it would be wonderful for you to have like a private reception with people, maybe Friday night or Saturday night, and you could just like greet everybody because we have like a two-bedroom little place set aside for us. But I think that would be really nice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I'll be hanging around, and it won't be that many people,
Yeah.
so anybody who wants to talk with me directly and in person, like I'll just be loitering. I'll just kind of like it'll be Dr. Alicia's show. Now, I put the link in there, Lydia. I don't know if you can y'all click on the link. Are you able to? Is it able to work, Lydia? If you can't click on it, I'll text it out. Make sure you're on the text list for this class. Text morning to 87948. Let me know if the link is working when you guys click on it, because I clicked on it. It looks fine to me. But if it didn't, okay, Candace says it worked for her. Okay, Chris says it works. Okay, great. Armando, thank you. Yeah, so okay, Lydia, yeah, so if it doesn't work for whatever reason, then let us you can I'll text it out to you. And I want to say thank you both for coming in today. It was an honor to get to see you, and I learned a lot about the trauma. And by the way, I'll also text you all the link to that financial trauma quiz so that you can take it again if you want to, maybe take it in the future to see how your score has changed. share it with share it with some of your crazy relatives, and then get them on the path to healing. Also, I want everybody to know also that the stock market's been acting kind of wild lately, so I'm gonna do some stuff on that later on today. And for those that are in Prime, I'll send you a fast cash action plan that I'm going to do that can make you some money. So if you're not doing stock options with us, feel free to go to drboyceprime.com and you can participate with that. All right. So thank you, Ayanna Hamilton. It was great to see you again, Yaya, and Dr. Alicia. And just so everybody knows, if you go on the retreat, you will be corresponding quite a lot with Yaya. Yaya is really cool, and she's a great lady, and she's going to be there and be able to make sure that every single thing that you need is taken care of. So, all right. So
Most
have a good day,
definitely.
everybody. God bless you, and thank you, ladies, for coming in. It was great to see you, and I'll see you all in the morning. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.